Welcome to the Fire King Tri-Brigade combo guide here. I will show you a decklist here. I will talk about this decklist more in depth later on. I just wanted to have it on the screen. I will now show you the base combos that you need to know to be able to play this deck. A really fun deck, a really cool strategy that is now enabled by us having the Fire King cards. We will also be able to use the new card, the Volcanics, as a kind of good normal summon to go into two different lines that I will also show in this video. So if you want to know how to play this deck, the most important combo lines, then I will teach them to you now. And later on we will hop on over where I show you or read to you any name of any cards. You can copy the deck list and also explain to you why these cards are in here. So stay tuned after the combo guide of the video. Alright guys, let's look at the first combo line, and for this combo line we are going to assume you have a legendary Fire King Ponix in our hand together with Fire King Avatar. This could be any other beast, warrior, beast or winged beast monster, so any of your Tri-Brigade monsters. This only needs to be one of the three types here, right? So we are going to normal summon a legendary Fire King Ponix, activating the effect to add Fire King Sanctuary. We can now activate the Sanctuary to set our Fire King Island onto the field. Then we are going to activate Fire King Island. Nearly always makes sense to pop the Ponix here. You can either revive the Ponix or get it back to your hand in the next standby phase if it gets destroyed by card effect or battle. Now we can search the Garunix. This is always the same like in the Fire King Snake Eye. On the pure version of Fire King, you're going to activate Garunix because a monster originally fire was destroyed. We are going to activate Garunix to destroy a beast, winged beast or beast warrior from our deck, and now we can go into our Tri-Brigade line here. You are going to destroy the Kit, which Kit can now activate to dump to the grave your Nerval. With Nerval you can now search to your hand the Keras, and Keras we can now, and this is where we need the other Tri-Brigade monster here, or the not the Tri-Brigade monster but the beast warrior, beast or winged beast monster, because we now need to discard one in order for Keras to be summoned. So we are going to summon the Keras by discarding the Avatar. Could be anything else here though. We're going to activate Keras' effect, banishing. In this case I would suggest Kit and Nerval. We can obviously get them back later to go into a Bearbram here, and then we are going to go link 4 into an Appaloosa for 3 materials, and then obviously can trigger Bearbram in the graveyard to search Tri-Brigade Revolt, which will bring us into our Tri-Brigade boss monster here. We are going to set the card in the next standby phase. Ponix will come back to our hand, giving us obviously follow-up plays, and then we can just activate our Appaloosa negates and then Tri-Brigade Revolt to get to the field our Shuraik, the Ominous Omen. And the cool thing is that Shuraik obviously says when it's summoned, if this card is special summoned, you can banish one card on the field, so non-targeting. That's quite nice. But this obviously also says that if another beast warrior, beast or winged beast monster is special summoned, so either one of these conditions here, you can also use this banishing effect. This is obviously very nice because it's quite easy to pop something, for example, with your island, and then summon your Garunix back to the field, and then this will trigger. You could also have your Promethean Princess in the grave, for example, and then destroy one of your fire monsters that could remain on the field if you have one, and then once again trigger this a second time if you have not used this effect already. For example, if it has not been special summoned this turn but is already on the field, then you activating your princess in the grave could, for example, get you to an additional interruption via your Tri-Brigade Shuraik, the Ominous Omen. Okay, for the next combo we will use the Ponix and specifically Tri-Brigade Kit here. We are going to go normal summon Ponix, add the Fire King Sanctuary. You know the drill. In the second turn obviously you can add something else, the Fire King Destruction spell, for example, or whatever you have in the deck. You don't need to run an additional spell, but it obviously gives your Ponix an additional search for the future. Going to play the island. This time around we can destroy the Kit from the hand. Obviously can trigger the Kit after we have gotten the Garunix to the hand. We will go chainlink one Kit, chainlink to Garunix, so Kit. So first the Garunix will summon, then we will dump the Nerval, and now we are going to go chainlink one Nerval, chainlink to Garunix. Garunix will destroy the Barong, a new card that we have not seen. It's not a new Fire King card, but we have not seen it in this combo, which can during the next standby phase add one Fire King card from our deck to our hand. This will be very important in a moment. And then the Nerval can add us a Fractal. We are now not adding the Keras because we don't have an additional monster to discard. You could maybe have one in hand because we obviously only were under the impression that we had the Ponix and then the Kit. If the hand looks different, then obviously you can also go search the Keras here. So now to get it on the field, we will go link 2 into our Ferrijit, which the Ferrijit can now summon another monster from our hand, the Fractal, which can then be activated to banish once again the Nerval and the Kit. to summon the Rampage, the Bear Brom, and then like in the other combo we can go link into an Appaloosa for 3 counter negates. Then obviously we will trigger the Bear Brom in the grave to get the trap to our hand, which gives us access to our Shuraik. And now let's see where this differs from the other combo, right? We are going to pass over in the standby phase, we will get the Pronix back. This is mandatory, you have to do this, and we can activate the Barong to search a Fire King card. We are going to search the Fire King High Avatar Kirin, which at any point can now destroy a monster, fire monster in our hand or field to be special summoned, thereby triggering our Garunix in the grave. So next we are going to do, let's say for example, we are going to activate the trap to summon back our Shuraik, and let's say we have used, and this makes sense, have used the Nerval for this, right? Then Nerval can also, after you have banished something with Shuraik, trigger to, for example, search follow-up in the form of a kid, right? And what you can do at any point now is activate your Kirin, destroy your Pronix, because you will get Pronix back on the next turn because you have destroyed him here, and then summon the Avatar Kirin, and now Garunix in the graveyard will trigger, will be special summoned, and now you can destroy another Winged Beast or Warrior Beast monster. In this case you can either destroy, and I show this here in a second, we were going to destroy the Kirin, and Kirin can then resummon something, either the Barong or the Pronix. The Pronix will now not come back in the next standby phase, so it might make more sense to summon back the Barong here, but it depends on the situation, right? And the Kirin can then also, it has resummoned back the Pronix, Kirin can now also destroy something on the field non-targeting. If you don't need to destroy something on the field non-targeting here, you would give the Avatar to the grave so that you can revive him with another Kirin on your next turn, right? So if you don't want to destroy anything, get the Avatar into the grave. If you want to destroy anything, get the Kirin into the grave. This is always the logic with the Fire King engine. If you can destroy something, dump the Kirin. If not, then dump the Avatar. So that's why you normally always dump the Avatar on your first turn, because you can't destroy anything with Kirin, and you want to not waste this Kirin resource, right? Because if the Kirin has been to the graveyard, you can get it back with the Avatar, but it's harder to get him back from the graveyard than it is to destroy him from the deck. So what you can do now, let's say we have played our entire game and our opponent broke through and stuff, we can still, if our opponent then normal or special summoned, use the effect of the Fire King Sanctuary to go for an XYZ summon with our Fire King monsters. Because we have 2 level 8s, the High Avatar Kirin and the Garunix, we can get into the boss monster, the higher of Fire King's Garunix Eternity, which can now activate to destroy all monsters on the field, which obviously we have destroyed our Pronix. This will get back to us in the next standby phase. If we would have summoned our Barong, we would be able to search another Fire King card. Now, because Shuraik was destroyed, he can also search follow-up, so we'll get double follow-up. We can, for example, grab the Nerval and then either get the Pronix back if we have destroyed the Pronix, or get a Fire King card if we have destroyed the Avatar Barong. And then this also can destroy on your turn a spell or trap, but you at this point should have cleared the board, should have stopped your opponent with all the negates that you were able to use here. Alright, for the next combo we are going to assume that we have the Fractal and want to discard one of the Tri-Brigade or Tri-Beast cards to discard, and then 3 additional cards in hand. So we are going to start a discard the Fractal to get into the grave the Kid. Then we are going to activate Kid, you know the drill, the basic Tri-Brigade combo. Basically, activate Kid, get the Nerval into the grave. Nerval can now get to our hand the Keras, and this is where we need our additional guy here, so we can special summon him, because we need our normal summon later on. So go Keras here, dump the Avatar to the grave, and now we can use Keras, banish all 4 to make a Tri-Brigade Shuraik here. We can now not use the effect of Shuraik because we are assuming we are on turn 1, but obviously you could banish something now if you wanted to. We are going to go link 2 into the Bear Brom now, and the next thing we are going to do is we're going to activate Shuraik, because it was sent to the graveyard, can search us the Pronix now, and we have not normal summoned yet, which is quite nice. Now we can use the Pronix effect. Obviously we are going to grab Sanctuary. It's always the same thing. Sanctuary will add the Fire King Island directly to the board. I've added it to the hand, and then we are going to use the Bear Brom's effect to discard 2 and revive our Kid from the banished pile. Then we can activate Kid's effect to banish the 2 remaining monsters from our graveyard to go into a Ferajit. I will quickly change up the zones here because obviously the link arrow is pointing here. And then we can activate the island, destroy the Pronix, search the Garunix. You basically always search the Garunix. You need to get the Garunix in the rotation. And then one important thing I want to quickly say it here, because I hopefully also have said it or will say it in the Fire King Snake Eyes version. You always want to get Garunix to the graveyard. Don't be confused by the fact that this has a lot of attack and will get get even more attack if it destroys, for example, the Kirin. You want this in your graveyard because this starts your Fire King combo line, basically. So don't keep it on the field, right? Link it away for stuff. So at this point, we are going to destroy the Barong here. In this specific case, if, for example, you had the Avatar still in the graveyard, then in this case, you would not go for a Barong, but you would go for a Kirin to be able to summon back your Avatar, so you have an additional monster negate. But in this case, we are going to destroy Barong for follow-up. So the next thing we are going to do is link 2 into, and this should be an IP Masquerena. At this point, it wasn't in the extra deck, but just imagine this is an IP Masquerena. You could obviously also go into an SP, but the idea is to go into an IP that can go into an SP. You know the drill by now, I guess. Then we are going to link it away into Appaloosa, the 2 remaining bodies for 2, and then we can go Beer Drum, search our trap here, and the rest is basically history. You know it from the turn before. On our opponent's next Stamper phase, we are going to get the Ponix back, and we once again can search the Kirin, and we are basically in the same situation as in the replay before, but with the addition of our IP Masquerena / SP Little Knight, or basically our IP Masquerena into our SP Little Knight, which gives us 2 additional negates or interruptions on this endboard here. Okay, and for our basic last combo with the new card, the Ulcanix, we will need an additional card to destroy with her and another Beast. Brink Beast or Beast Warrior card. I will add this to the hand in a moment here. We are going to go normal summon Ulcanix. Ulcanix can now destroy 1 other fire monster in your hand or face a field, and if we do, we can add 1 Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster from our deck to our hand, except the cool Carnix. We can now add the Fractal effect to discard, get to the grave the Kit, then Kit effect to get to the grave, you know it, the Nerval, and then Nerval can now add us the Keras here. We have normal summoned already, so we need our extra discard here, so let's imagine we have it. Viking Avatar Baron. We are going to discard this. By the way, if you do not have this additional discard here, then you can just go ahead and use the basic Ulcanix line that I have showed in the Fire King Snake Eyes deck, the combo guide. The combo guide is linked in the top right corner. Just go ahead, check this out, and use this combo line then. Otherwise, you can use this one or can decide for yourself which one you think is better. We are going to discard the Barong here, and now we can, you basically know it by now, activate the Keras to banish 2 and make the Beerbram, and then we can link all of them away into an Apollo USR, and the Beerbram can now search us the Tri-Brigade Revolt. We are going to set the Tri-Brigade Revolt to the field. Unfortunately, on opponent's next Stamper phase, we won't get anything back because we weren't really able to get into our Fire King engine, but we could have if we have decided to add with the Fire King consort Ulcanix the Ponix instead of the Fractal. But this depends, as I already said, if you want to go for this line, the Tri-Brigade line, or if you want to go for the Fire King Pure line. And as I already said, check out the other video that I've made on Fire King Snake Eyes, where I show you the basic combo with Ulcanix that you can also use in this deck here. And now we will hop on right over to the deck list. Alright, we are at the end, and now we can see the deck list here. I will first go over every name so you can copy it and then talk about the list a bit more. We have 1 Avatar Avatar, 1 Garunix, 2 Avatar Kirin. You can definitely bump this up to 3, but I will talk about this in a moment. 1 Avatar Garunix to have him for the Ulcanix. We have 1 Island, 1 Sanctuary, we have 1 Ponix, we have 3 Ulcanix, we have 1 Fire King Skyburn, 3 Fractal, 2 Kit, 2 Nerval, 1 Keras, 1 Revolt. We have 1 Black Witch, we have 3 Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils. So the Black Witch, the OSS together with the Black Witch gets you into your Ponix. This is the idea. You can definitely also cut this entire engine if you wanted to. There are definitely a few different ways that you can approach this deck. You can also play a bigger Snake Eye engine here if you want to. As you can see, we don't have a Snake Eye engine at all in here, but then it becomes more of a Fire King Snake Eye deck, and then you have to cut the Tri-Brigade stuff, and then it doesn't really make sense to call this Fire King Tri-Brigade when I also have this Fire King Snake Eye version online, right? We have 2 Fire Formation Tanky that can basically search for any important card. Also the negate, by the way, that's quite nice. Then we have the OSS, then we have triple Maxi, triple Ash Blossom, triple Imperm, called by across also the basic package. You could say you can obviously choose to cut out on some of the engine parts if you want to get more hand traps in here. You can bump this up to 3, as I already said. There is a Barong as an additional destruction target for the Garunix. If we don't need to destroy our Tri-Brigade stuff to get into the Tri-Brigade place, we have the Barong here, which is also quite nice. But you can also cut the Barong. You can also, if you want to, put in the other Fire King card, the Spell Negate, the Spell Trap Negate, but a lot of people were not really ever using this one. This has the advantage that it can be summoned from the hand if a card that was originally fire is destroyed. But one thing to keep in mind to know about the Fire King cards is that you can never summon 2 of them in the same chain. So if like let's say your I don't know, your Ponix gets destroyed via your island, and you have a Garunix in the grave and then the Rangbali in the hand. Then you have to decide whether you want to summon Garunix from the grave or the Rangbali from the hand, which normally you want to summon the Garunix because it's the card that generates more value. So the Rangbali is then once again stuck in your hand, and you are not destroying like 100 fire monsters on your turn, so you might not have an additional option to get the Rangbali onto the field. Unfortunately, this is a spell, Trap Negate, which is quite nice, but I think first of all, a Monster Negate is a bit more valuable, and second of all, this one, if it gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard, can also resummon something, which I think makes it more valuable than the Rangbali. But you can also play Rangbali if you want to. Obviously, it's also a Beast Warrior, so that's not a big problem. We have the extra deck here. We have 2 Shura, the Ominous Omen, 1 Fractal or Ferigit, sorry, this is the Bearbram. We have one Almirage, then we have an SP Little Knight, we have Apollousa, we have an Access Code Talker for finishing, we have the Garunix Eternity. You don't need to play this, but you definitely can. It's quite nice making this with the Sanctuary here. You can also, by the way, play more Sanctuaries if you want to, but basically you only need these 2 here. But a Sanctuary can also be an opener, of course. Then you are basically skipping your Ponix, because then you will need to use Sanctuary into Island to destroy something else, but not the Ponix to get to your Garunix. This can also work, but I don't think you need more Sanctuaries, honestly. 1 Zealantis together with the Promethean Princess and the Raging Phoenix for the kill combo. This is not as easily achieved here, and remember, you can lock yourself into the Tri-Brigade stuff. This is also something to keep in mind all the time. You have a Hita and a Dark, they make sense, and then the IP Masquerina here. I think extra deck wise, you should keep it like this. As I already said, the kill package is not as important here as it is in other decks, not as effective. There are definitely stuff, or there is stuff that you can put out. You don't need to play the Skyburn if you don't want an additional search target for the Ponix. You can also play, for example, the other card, the Circle of the Fire King, target 1 fire monster you control and 1 fire monster in your graveyard to destroy that monster you control, and if you do special summon that other monster from your graveyard. I think the destroy Fire King monsters on your field and then cards on your opponent side of the field, basically equally to the amount that you have destroyed. I think this one is better, but you can definitely also put this one in. You don't need to play Fire Formation Tankies. You can also bump them up to 3, as I already said. There are different ways that you can approach this list here. You don't need to play the Ulcanix normal summon. I think it's very nice. You could also decide to go for the Snake Eye package instead of the Ulcanix, and then you would maybe cut the Tankies here for Poplars, and these would be Ashes then, and you would at least need 1 Flamberge Dragon. You can go for this if you want to, but this obviously depends. I think a lot of people are happy right now to be not playing Snake Eyes, so I think a lot of people are happy to just play like another deck. The Fire King cards, I think a lot of people think they are really cool. I also love them because of their artwork. It's quite amazing, and combining them with the Tri-Brigade stuff, which is also very fan favorite, I think is very nice. Let me know in the comments what you think of this guide. Is there anything I have missed here? If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, and guys, we will see each other in the next one.